Hey, this is Mo Lunsford at Union Grove Lumber Studios.
And this is the Shed Geek. We want to welcome you to today's episode.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Shed Geek Podcast. Friday Fun Days with Sam Bassiter. I'm your host, Sam Byler. And guys, I'm so excited about being here today. Man, I got to get back to doing some of these live. I'm depending on these Zoom calls all the time, and it's not near as good as when I can show up in person. And we were going to do this one in person, and things just don't always work out. Now I'm kind of under a travel ban till I get my back figured out a little better. So anyway, I am here with Norman Eicher from Mountain View, Belvedere, Tennessee, back all the way to where we had the first big bash. We had the Montana one, but the first big Tennessee bash. We were there over there at the community center, and then we did all the activities over at Mountain View. And Norman was kind enough to reach out to us way back in the early stages of planning, saying, hey, anything we have over here, you're welcome to use. Man, you guys were fantastic hosts. How are you today?
I'm doing fine. Thank you, Sam, for the intro there.
Yep.
My background was, I remember Sam coming in here. This curly-haired guy walks in, and I'm like, who is this? And we kind of hit off and been friends ever since.
Absolutely. Some days I wonder how the bash would have gone if we'd have been as good of friends as we are now. If we'd have back then, we'd have probably got some trouble back then.
We'd have probably gotten a lot of trouble.
Yep. So you guys didn't start out originally as shed builders, did you?
No, we did not. We started out as a construction company, and then bought a property on a divided highway, had someone here, decided we wanted to sell some sheds. My partner and I at that point were both had a background in sheds. I had worked for my uncle building sheds from a very young age. And then my partner's father had a kind of shed company in Illinois that he sold some sheds at. And I had worked for them there as well. So we were both very familiar with selling sheds. And so we actually found a supplier and we started selling some. At that point, the supplier only made treated sheds. So we were into the metal siding, metal roofing is what we promoted. So we started playing around, toying, building a couple metal sheds, building everything vertical, nothing horizontal, to typical way you would see it put on a pole barn or whatever. And the company's just growing from there. We would have opened doors here in 2009, and then in 2014 would have added a truss plant, and we've just kind of been adding on ever since. Think there's some more in the plans.
Oh no, some more?
Don't know how far that. Oh yeah, no, we need another. I've got scheduled to build another 80 by 400. So,
wow. You guys, so talk about the metal side a little bit. You guys do all your own metal stuff.
We do. We put a roll former in of our own in 2021, and that's continually been growing as well. So,
yeah,
it's so in 21 we would have added about 30,000 square feet here. And in 22, we added another 20,000, and I'm looking to build another 32,000. So,
okay,
keeps growing.
And how's your? So I think the last time I was there, maybe I don't know. One of the last times I was there, you had started playing around with not bending trim but rolling trim. Are you still? Is that a secret, or are we talking about that, or
no?
How's that going? Are you still doing it?
Oh yeah, we still do a lot of all our normal trims are pretty much rolled. It's just so much quicker.
Yeah.
Just to give you an idea, a piece of J channel, if you do it on the brake, is going to take you probably around 30 seconds or so, between 20 and 30 seconds to make a piece of J channel. And the other day, two of my guys ran 1,200 pieces of J channel in just under 5 hours.
Oh, wow.
and it's very easy. It's nothing to it.
A lot less stressful, a lot less action involvement.
It's just so much quicker.
Nice.
Still
expanding
that works out to, a piece of J channel about every 15 seconds, and you could never maintain that doing that on a break. So
the key being maintain it.
Yeah. You
could
could probably do
one or
3 or
two,
4 pieces. Yeah.
And then you're going to be done.
And not do a maintained. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So we roll form metal in 2 different profiles in a 36-inch wide screw down panel, and then of course we do board and we do standing seam, and we have last spring my 2 big purchases were a brand new automated saw for the truss plant and a double bend Vario bend. So I have a double folder from Vario Bend. It folds both ways, fully automatic with the fingers. It's really, really sped up our trim side.
Wow.
So probably
cool.
This year my big push is I'm going to have to add on again and then do a slit line with nesting function and automated functions on it to get my speed back up to where it needs to be.
So what is and I don't know, this probably might not even be important to you, but for a guy like me sitting and watching is, do you do more trusses? Do you do more metal? Do you do more sheds? Do you not care? You just roll them all wherever they go.
Dollar wise, we're doing more in sheds.
Dollar wise, you do more sheds.
Yeah, dollar wise, we do more in sheds. And the metal side is going to be almost even with that this year.
Okay.
But then I've added lumber. We're a full scale lumberyard as well, and that's been a struggle. We're in the South, a very tight knit, close community, and everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
And any new kid on the block is looked on with utmost suspicion.
I get it.
He's got nefarious. He's got nefarious ideas. Even if I do the same as what my local lumberyard is, it's not good enough. So it's a learning curve, and it's putting the right people in the right place, and having on Glick to give you feedback to help you make you better. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So does on your truss side, do you have? I can't remember if we talked about this or not. Do you actually build pole barns, or do you just supply all the materials for pole barns?
We currently have 2 of our own crews building pole barns, and then we'll still sub some out.
Okay, yeah.
So
that's
yes.
where the lumber, between that and sheds, that's where your lumber demand came from anyway.
Yeah, so we were stocking most of the stuff you needed at a lumberyard anyway. So it just made sense to add some more and then try to move some of it.
Yeah,
that keeps growing. That's been a very interesting piece.
Yep.
It's a lot harder to get into than I anticipated.
Yeah. That's interesting. Locally here we have Yoder's Building Supply, which has been around. They're obviously not a new kid on the block, but compared to like Lowe's, Home Depot, 84 Lumber, some of those guys, they would be considered that. But locally here, they kick those guys' tails. Yoder's probably supplies more contractors than 5 or 6 Lowe's locally put together.
Yeah,
but
my local Lowe's, my local Lowe's and Home Depot are a joke. They don't do anything. But I've got a local lumberyard just down the road. There's two decent lumberyards within 15, 20 miles. And the one I've always had a very good relationship with. The other one has been paranoid of me ever since I started here. So.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you the same thing we tell shed companies, when another shed company moves in. I'm like, if you believe in your product, you ain't worried about anybody else. If you believe in your service,
Yep.
Product or service. Pick which one you want to be. And,
Hmm.
build on that. And it never, I've preached this for years. Everybody knows this about me.
Hmm.
Competition's good. Competition's good for me. It's good for you. It's good for everybody else.
Yeah,
So,
and that's what I find is it's I've got two shed companies local. I go to
yep,
church with one that
yep,
builds for one of them, and the other one I know well. We back and forth. We built his. He added on three times in the last 15 years, and we've done all three additions to his shops.
yeah, yep,
We've had a good relationship with them. I try to, you know, we, with them, I'll even go as far as they'll call me and go, "Hey, we ran out of hinges. Do you have any?" I'm like, "Yeah, just here's a box. Just replace them."
yeah,
Um,
yep.
that's how we've always worked, and I appreciate that. That means a lot to me.
Oh, absolutely. Yep, I agree. That's important. It sounds like one of the things I always try to figure out is where you headed next. What are you doing next? Sounds like your metal's picking up. You're headed
Yeah,
back
yeah.
harder on that. So do you like supply stores with metal, or are you strictly selling to public? Where's your metal go?
Combination. We got in with some chicken house guys. We're supplying some chicken houses, and we just became a Lowe's vendor about 2 months ago. So we're
Okay.
starting to sell some to Lowe's. And that's a weird market. That right there is a weird market. I mean, they have brand loyalty like I've not seen anything like.
Really?
We'll do lumber packages for them that I'm just like, how I couldn't sell to a contractor locally for what I'm charging them, and they don't care.
Huh.
I don't I don't know. Is it I don't have an answer for that. I guess I'm not in that long enough. But I'm not I
Yeah.
shouldn't maybe that's a secret I shouldn't have passed on, but it, that one there has been really good for us.
That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know, the same thing here locally. 20 years ago, 25 years ago, Lowe's started outsourcing trusses, so our Lowe's around here, our economy is so dadgum crazy, which I know it is there too. And you've got Huntsville pushing up from the bottom there too. But like they started outsourcing trusses and packages and some stuff like that just because they weren't able to handle it all in house. I remember walking into the Seneca Lowe's and there's an overhauled truss hanging up there and it says overhauled truss on it. And they're like, yeah, if you
Hmm.
get trusses, it'll be delivered from overhauled truss. So I know they do that kind of stuff and they're
Lowe's Lowe's
subcontractors.
Lowe's does not have their own plants. Um, they're just simply like a Walmart of building supply.
Moving. Yep.
Um, I I don't quite understand some of the loyalty that they generate. But then on the
Yeah.
other hand, I guess if you have a Lowe's account, they sell it to you at a certain price and then you get a discount, which your invoice still shows. If you're doing
Yeah.
cost plus, I guess I understand some of the
Yeah.
games that contractors like to
Yeah.
play. Hey Sam, here's my invoice for $2,000, and
Yeah.
Lowe's says, well, I'm a contractor. I'm going to give you 5% or 8% off of that invoice. So it puts an
Yep.
extra percentage back in the contractor's pocket by
Yep.
doing some of the things they do.
Well, I mean, yeah, I've had a pro account with Lowe's for, oh my word, long before I moved to South Carolina. So for 25, 27, 28 years that I've had a pro account through them. And yeah, I get, you get the discount on your packages, so to speak. You get specials sometimes. Now they have it to where if even if I don't use my pro card account like to pay for it, they have
Mhm.
my credit cards registered on there to where I collect rewards, and then I use rewards cards to pay for it. So I'm
Mhm.
getting 3 to 5% off of their side, and I'm getting 3 to 5% off my credit card side, and then I'm getting 5% off my packages. It adds up to where at least it takes some of the stress off of some of the purchases you have to make outside of
Mhm.
your business stuff you're doing.
Mhm.
It does.
Yeah.
It adds up.
And that's one thing I'm seeing. play out in the contractor world that's a game I've never played. I'm a GC in Tennessee and Alabama. And, I've always bought my stuff in quantity, wholesale,
Yeah.
whatever. And I've never played the game of, okay, I'm going to build it cost plus. I go to the lumberyard and get an invoice, and knowing that my invoice is going to be 5% less.
Yep.
If I pay it on time, it's going to be 5% less than this. So I'm building the house for 20% above, cost. So technically, I can gain another 5%.
Yeah.
Of that. So I understand why guys are doing it.
Yeah. I got a big day tomorrow. I have a fully finished 18 by 40 cabin that's going to require 2 to 3 mills to get it delivered. Way back in the sticks and down a dirt lane. With all the rain we've had lately, it's going to be a mess. Well, it needs a bigger mule.
Well, when you talk, Cardinal listens, and you asked for it. With its diesel-powered 69-horse engine and capacity to move 40,000-pound sheds, the Mule 9069 is ready to turn your big days into just another day in the good life.
Ah, that's right. You're talking about the one they had up in Michigan at the shed show. That monster mule, that thing was awesome.
That's right. It's the one you've seen at all the shed hauler barbecues.
Man, yeah, there's nothing like a little diesel donkey to make my day go so much better. What are you still in the window business?
Yeah, still am.
I need some windows. But
what do you need?
I don't need a semi-load of them. And I know that's what you like. That's basically what you're doing, right? You're not selling basic. I mean, you're like selling windows out by the semi-load.
No, we're retail location. We deal with just a ton of
you
contractors. Mm-hmm.
So have you thought, the reason I brought that, most people, you might be wondering, why in the world is he bringing up windows when we're talking with a shed conversation? Have you ever thought about like pushing it on the shed side?
I have not.
Like, do you want to sell shed? Do you want to sell windows to shed manufacturers?
I guess I've just never really thought about it. I have enough to take care of. That's going to be an idea I need to pursue at some point, probably, but probably not today, because I've got other things I need to take care of. So
yeah. So you don't want everybody blowing up your phone right now saying that they want to get windows from you.
Well, I'd be happy to do that. It'd be hard depending on where you're at to get them to you efficiently and cost effective.
Yeah. So now you're mimicking exactly what you told me about buying metal from you. Remember, I pushed you hard to get metal down here for us. And you're pretty logistically savvy to the fact that you've got an imaginary line out there that you stop at, or all of a sudden it just doesn't become cost effective.
It doesn't become cost effective to ship a finished product that far. Your volume has to be so high to make that make sense. And I'm going to share a little bit why I see that happen. I was purchasing out of Southern Indiana for years.
Uh-huh.
And because I didn't like the quality and what I could get locally.
Yep.
The extra I was paying in price and the aggravation and frustration of making that happen made me probably a lot more aware of, at some point, logistically, it doesn't become practical because you're going to pay more in shipping than your items are worth.
Yeah.
If you and you have to run that ratio and make that make sense. And that's kind of the same way with shed companies. If you start hauling a finished product 300 miles, it's hard to make that make sense when you can haul a raw product and have someone build it 20 miles from there. And then you have, then you just set up another hub and you keep going.
Yep.
Simply because, sheds is an oversized commodity. Trusses is another thing it's a little difficult. But for me, I kind of run everything on a case basis. If you're talking $30,000 worth of product, there's enough overhead there to swing some of your logistic cost. But if you're talking something down running at like a 5 or a 6% margin, there's not enough. There's no money in it by the time you pay shipping.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's not just as easy as shipping it with UPS.
Yeah. But it is amazing to me how many times I see sheds getting shipped 4, 5, 6, 7 states away. Pennsylvania is still famous for doing it.
I can't make that make sense logistically.
Yeah. Unless there. So the argument that I've heard already, now some of the stuff that I see shipped out of Pennsylvania to Texas, to Arizona, to Colorado, to California is back to what you're talking about. You're talking $100,000 and $120,000 loads and up.
Mm-hmm.
And then there, like you said, there's a little more pie in there to split up.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still so often I'll see a load of sheds, Pennsylvania truck, load of sheds going into Florida, Pennsylvania truck, load of sheds going, past me here somewhere. And it's mind boggling to me. And those guys aren't crazy. They've been doing it a long time. That they still figure out. Now, some of those truckers, they back, like Omar Transport, he'll backhaul. He's got his trailers built to where they can haul just about anything on a backhaul. As to where I'm more the guy, I'm not even going to spend time to try to find something to bring back. I'm going to go back and get my next one and go again. I don't want to fool with that. Which would be the same way if you're delivering metal. You want to do your 4 or 5 drops and go back home.
Yeah. Well, so I'm going to give you a little scenario I don't think we've ever talked about. I had a company from Pennsylvania reach out to me about some sheds going on to a government project down here. They held a government contract. I built them to their specs. I think we did close to 20 sheds.
Yep.
Went down to an arsenal in Alabama. So in those specific scenarios, they have their contractors that they want to use or have to use or something like that. So I totally understand at those points.
Yes.
He made more than I did by having that contract and just getting me to do it locally. He made bank on that project. But if he wouldn't have used me, I would have had no way of getting the contract because those contacts and those contracts take a long time to build and maintain.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Locally, I do a lot for the government simply because I carry the proper insurances and all of that stuff. And there's a lot of people that don't. I just got a job the other day that somebody else was cheaper, but they didn't have the proper stuff. And so we ended up with the project simply because there was nobody else that could do it.
Yeah. Yep.
But that takes a lot of desk work sitting here behind in a desk chair, getting everything crossed, every dot, everything has to be dotted, everything has to be done right. You have to have the right accounts, you have to have the right paperwork on file, you have to have the right insurance, you have to have, there's just the listing for those type of projects. The money is lucrative. There's a lot of back end work that goes on to get it.
Yeah. I was gonna say I've talked to some of those guys that have those contracts, and some days they're even like, was all the back work that we did, was it even worth doing it? And they're like, yeah, if you can keep them and keep going at it. But it does. It takes that's 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, hold on, 7 years ago. 2018, 7 years ago, I did a project for Michelin. And it was the same way. It was so many hoops and stuff that you had to jump through to get ready to do this. It wasn't even that big a project. It was big for my woodworking shop at the time. But after a while, you're like, can we just get the project done? But then once you were done, when they needed something else done, it was done. It
was a breeze.
Yeah, it was a breeze. So,
but and here's what I'm seeing a lot of the smaller guys don't have the office staff or the personnel to handle the paperwork that needs to go be done on those projects. And so
Yeah, that's true.
typically going to see someone very large get it. And, on those things, on a 17 shed bundle, you're talking, he probably made $80,000-$90,000 on top of what he paid me.
Uh-huh.
Basically, he priced him coming out of Pennsylvania, priced him delivery coming out of Pennsylvania, bought him from me for the same price he could have got him out of Pennsylvania and pocketed the delivery fees.
Yes.
So he did very well. I don't begrudge that because I know what goes on to make these things happen.
Yep.
It's just, it's a small company. It's really, really hard.
Could we ever go down a rabbit hole on that? Why is it so hard why is it so hard to understand? That's not a word. That's not understand. That's not what I'm looking for. Why is it so hard to be okay with somebody making money off of you making money? Where did we get off on that? You know what I'm saying? And listen, I'm gonna preach straight at shed haulers for a minute right here. They want to always cry about the fact that the big man is making so much money, and why aren't they making more? When they're making money, they're doing good. You follow what I'm saying?
Oh, I follow what I'm saying. I'm going to come at it from the other perspective. So I'm going to play I'm the big man. You know who pays the insurance?
Yeah.
Who pays when that shed blows apart on the road and somebody gets killed?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because we can't get some of the big men to pay for those. They're like, it's on your trailer, it's your problem.
So I'm going to share that if something like that happens, I feel I'm in the boat as much as anybody else. So
yeah,
I'm going to kick in.
That's why you're one of the good guys.
I don't know about that, Sam. But then it comes down to, if there's something wrong with the shed, who pays for it?
Yeah.
5 years down the road, if that thing starts leaking, who sends somebody to fix it and take care of it and make sure the customer is taken care of? I'll just share. Sometimes there's heartburn in what I'm doing because it seems every time I turn around there's risk. I'm putting myself out there. Yep. I'm taking all the risk. Yes, I'm making money, but at the end of the day, I'm also putting myself out there and taking a ton of risk. If I purchase that $100,000 worth of material and the bottom falls out, the anticipated 25% tariffs don't hit, and instead of material going up, it goes down. Who takes that hit?
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of money in play that it feels like at the end of the day, there's sometimes not a lot of rewards for the back end effort that you put in.
Yeah. Yep.
Who makes sure, it's like I'm paying office staff to, process the order, make sure it's done, make sure taxes get paid, make sure my dealers get paid, make sure that, if we have lots that everybody gets paid, make sure that there's enough money in the bank to pay the haulers. It's just, you sit here and, there's money coming in, but it goes out. It tends to go out just as quick.
And most times if I can get them to listen long enough, it's like, look, you do the same thing. You don't know where your fuel cost is going to be. You don't know where this is going to be. You don't know where that's going to be. It's the same way. You don't want to haul for cheap, so it's, it works both directions. The thing that frustrates me is when they find out, or when somebody, and I'm saying it goes either direction on this, when they find out that you might have made extra money on it or whatever, they're like, oh, water, blah, 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 and they want to run off about that. And I'm like, since when, if I tell you that I'm going to haul sheds for you and you're going to pay me $5,000 a week, why do I care if you make $5,000 a week or $500,000 a week?
Mm-hmm.
What difference does it make?
Doesn't.
None. Mm-hmm. So that's why I feel like too often we kind of forget the part that we all need each other. And if he makes good this time, I'll make some somewhere else sometime.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we're all still moving forward.
Am I too harsh to say that's a little bit an Amish mentality, Amish Mennonite mentality, that I can't stand it if another Amish or Mennonite makes $1 on me? I see that. I see that a lot. Somehow we think we're entitled. Um, you know, we're not entitled to anything in life.
No.
There's nothing that I am owed. Sam doesn't owe me anything. I've tried to go out of my way to help him, but he doesn't owe me anything.
Mm-hmm.
Just who I am. If Sam puts a deal together and I tell him I'll sell him that shed for $9,000 and Sam can sell it for 18, guess what? That's not my. I agreed to sell it to Sam for 9. I don't really care what Sam makes off of it. It's not.
Yeah. Yep.
Why is that? Why does that? Why should I let that bother me?
I don't know, man. I don't have the answer. I
guess I'm asking that, trying to make people think, like, why should I let that bother me?
Yeah.
Sam's got costs. He's got to live too. So if I'm not doing something, if I'm not making Sam money and he's buying product from me, then I need to figure out what I'm doing wrong, because if Sam can't make money on it, then it's no use for him to do it. There's no reason for him to do it.
Yes, this is true. And then if we don't have each other, we're not getting our job finished.
Yeah. And that's kind of the way I view employer-employee relationships.
Oh, absolutely. Same thing.
If my employee isn't making me money, I can't afford to pay his taxes. I can't afford to pay his health care. I can't afford to give him a bonus at the end of the year. I can't afford to have a desk for him to sit in if he's not making me money. I'm paying for the space for him to be here. And if he's not making me money, then why is he here?
Yeah. Because pretty soon neither one of y'all are going to be there.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Good point.
So I think we need to get it through our head that if we're not making the other person money, there's something wrong in what we're doing.
Yeah. That's fair.
Sorry, I went off on a rant there, but that's just one of those things.
No. It's dead on. I agree.
I have, that's bothered me like something crazy. I see these, and particularly, I'm still beachy Amish, and I see that in that culture. They just, man, if another man makes $1 on him, it's just terrible. And I'm just like, how? I can't see that. Like, why?
But we're okay going to Lowe's and letting Lowe's make $1 off of us.
Yeah, we're totally fine with that.
You know what I'm saying? It's yeah. Shannon's going to be like, man, I don't know where these two got off on this. Why am I not in on this conversation?
Unlock the power of productivity with Cardinal Leasing. Are you looking to elevate your business operations with top-tier equipment? Look no further than Cardinal Leasing. We offer a wide range of reliable and high-quality equipment tailored to meet your unique needs. Flexible leasing options. Whether you need short-term rentals or long-term solutions, our customizable leasing plans are designed to provide maximum flexibility and affordability. Conventional financing available. Cardinal Leasing also offers great conventional finance options for those of you that prefer that over-lease purchase options. Expert support. Our team of experienced professionals is here to guide you every step of the way, ensuring a seamless leasing experience. Boost efficiency. With our top-of-the-line equipment, you can enhance productivity, reduce downtime, and achieve your business goals faster. Why choose Cardinal Leasing? Competitive rates, exceptional customer service, hassle-free process, quick and easy approvals. Don't let outdated equipment hold you back. Partner with Cardinal Leasing today and take your business to the next level. Contact us now. Visit our website at equipment.cardinalleasing.us or call us at 618-803-4086 to get started.
So I don't think I ever heard the term race to the bottom until I got to know Shannon Latham.
Mm-hmm.
And he's constantly harping on and Dave Miller. Dave Miller, when I first started, working with him on the rent to own side. In fact, Shannon might have stole it from Dave, to be honest with you, because Dave is, he's always been of the opinion that, we need to quit this race to the bottom. Rent to own companies do it, manufacturers do it, shed lots up and down the same road. It's like, and Home Depot and Lowe's don't do it. They might run a special on something to get you in the door to see everything else. I remember back in the day, man, this is all the way back in the early 90s when, sometimes they would run a special on studs or they would run a special on plywood or something, where you could get it dirt cheap. But when you were in there, you bought everything else you needed too.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's I've noticed we're getting tight again a little bit. And on the shed sales, the professionals, shed sales professionals page, I've seen it creeping up again where some dealers are starting to fuss about other dealers' prices and stuff. And it's so hard for me not just to shake my head at them and be like, come on, guys. But it gets into you that, man, he's selling that 10 by 16 for $400 less than I am. And it's like, it's not the same shit.
My question is, go look at the sheds.
Yeah. And I would tell my guy to go. Tell the customer, go look at it. See, you'll see what the difference is.
But I guarantee you, over 50% of your customers will buy based on your personality and your way of approaching them versus what your price are.
Yeah,
if your price is within 15%, they will. What's 15%? Nothing to them. If you walk out there, I have a salesman here that I will put up against anybody I've ever run up against. Older gentleman, people love him. Comes out with his cowboy hat and his starch jeans, that stand up by themselves.
Yep.
Well dressed, well spoken. People love him.
Yeah.
And we sell more sheds because of him than you ever. It's just his personality. So if you come across as you're some bum, you don't care what you look like. You're here to sell them the cheapest thing that you can put slap together and get to them. Versus, I care about you. Here's what we're doing different. Here's how we're different. We try to take care of you. We try to build something different. This is why we do what we do. People, if you're within the ballpark, people will buy.
I agree. Yep. And I still know those. I've still got them. There are some really good online salespeople out there. I've seen some of their numbers. I know what they can do, and not at all knocking what they do because they're good at it. But there are 4 or 5 people that I know in the Southeast that sell just as much dollar-wise, that do very little online. It's all based on their personality, based on their product knowledge, and based on they sell themselves before they ever sell their product.
Mm-hmm.
And it still works.
It works. It just does.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be a car salesman to make it happen.
No. I'm even starting to see some of that shift in car sales.
If you walk out there,
CarMax is changing some of that.
Really, if you walk out there and you're confident in yourself, you're well spoken, you know your product, I promise you will sell sheds.
Yep.
But the flip side of that is stay in your office and let your people just wander around the lot and not go out and talk to them, and then come whine to me, you can't sell sheds. It just won't sell.
And that is not a hypothetical situation either. It happens.
Look, I've been doing this for over 20 years. Okay. I know how to sell sheds. I was here by myself on one Saturday, Sam, from 9 o'clock to 2 o'clock. I sold 6 sheds.
Yep. It happens. get back to what you're doing with sheds. You said that originally you started out with wood sheds, and
We were
you
selling.
switched over. You were selling somebody else's.
Correct. So we were. I was a little interesting there. Through a family friend, they brought us some sheds. They didn't want to, but he talked them into bringing us some sheds. They set us up 3 or 4 sheds, and we were like, it's really hard to sell sheds with 2 or 3 sheds.
Absolutely.
So we ended up borrowing some money and buying wholesale for a couple of years. And during that time is when we started building metal sheds. And then at some point they said they don't want to deal with us anymore. So we started building our own wood sheds then.
I was going to say, you build wood sheds now. What point did you? Yeah. So do you know what's the ratio these days?
We sell a little better than 50% in metal.
Okay. So metal still does a little bit more.
Oh yeah. We're doing a wood grain, doing a lot of wood grain stuff now.
Yes, that's right. You are doing wood grain.
Some pretty stuff.
Yeah.
You know, the wood, you never have to paint it, Sam. It's so much better than wood. Yeah, so much better. Still looks like wood. You know, you can have the wood look, but it's so much better.
Yeah. I'm with you. Still doing your double wides and stuff?
Oh yeah. We're still doing. I heard that one of the bigger names in the shed industry starting to do double wides now. So.
Oh, you heard something I haven't heard yet, but I've been stuck in the hills of North Carolina for 7 months. So.
I heard Old Hickory's doing double wides now.
Oh, nice. So way back in the day, I used to get double wides from a company called Robin. Robin is a 50-year-old shed company from down in South Georgia.
Yep.
And I used to buy sheds from them because I could get double wide garages from them. And they actually would build a 30-foot. How do I explain this? So you could get a 12 by 30 building and the roof ran the 30-foot way, side gable, so to speak.
Yep.
And when you did that, you could go as long as you wanted to go with a 30 wide building, 12 foot at a time, and keep slapping them things together, one right after the other one. I did one time where I don't remember, I think it was 7 or 8 of them. And we almost had a 30 by 100 foot building set with, it still has the floors, blocked them up and everything, bolted trusses together.
But that roof slope must have been like what? A 1?
Oh, it's probably maybe 1.5. And that was back when it was that metal that when we connected them together, you would bend it over at the top and run it down the other side. It was like, I don't know if it was aluminum. Yeah, aluminum roofing.
Robin,
and it
Robin
was like almost a corrugated pattern, you know. But no, you would just slap the sheet up, go up at the top, and very carefully just fold it down and send it down the other side. And that's how you put them all together. I still think, yeah, because, you know, the middle sections wouldn't have no gables. They'd just be open, and you would double truss, bolt that truss together, bolt the floor together, and slap that piece of plywood in the floor.
How many do you want?
Yeah, no, I don't want to do that anymore.
I'll get you as many as you want.
Yeah, I bet you will too.
No, I'm serious. If that's what you want, Sam, I'll be happy to do it for you.
Nope. I think I'm done with those days. I think that probably made me old before my time. And listen, we weren't setting those on slabs either. We were blocking them. So you'd start on the ground and you go out 50 feet and there ain't no telling where you were off the ground.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And, customers always right. Just started a job this morning on the construction side that the customer had said he shot transit on it. It was 4 inches off in a 30 by 30. I think he measured, he got messed up between 4 inches and 4 foot because it's 4 foot off.
No way.
Yeah.
In 30 feet. Yeah, we've been there.
It's pretty level.
Pretty
It's 4
level.
inches off. 4 inches off.
Well, now, so the bad thing about a transit is if it's not a self-leveling one, you don't know
Who
what you're
knows?
getting.
Yep.
You know, I just bought me a new transit, probably 2 months ago. And these all, like when I was researching them or whatever, all these new transits, you get it just close and the things self-level themselves.
Yeah.
Back in the day when I started, we were looking through the rifle scopes. You had to have that thing set 4 different, like you would spin it all the way around, spin it over here, spin it there, and adjust it because there was no self-leveling involved. You had to be
Yep.
right.
Yep. And then my dad had one of those for years. That's what I grew up using.
And now,
I got into construction. It's pop it on, hit the button, and walk away from it. By the time you get to where you want to go, it's running, and you're good to go.
Yep. I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, I don't know if I trust this thing or not. Just because I don't understand it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Yep.
No, you were asking about where we started from. Typically, for me at least, some of this stuff is I've done it all my life. So if I see an opportunity, I try to capitalize on it, jump into it, and after it. My company's grown beyond the days where it was just me. It's been an interesting journey.
Yeah. It's hard to let, and I know you're enough like me that it's hard to let some of that stuff go and let somebody else take care of it.
Yeah, but I've learned if I don't, I'll go crazy.
Yeah, you will in a hurry. Yep.
There's people that are better qualified to do some of those things. I do better at being the innovator, the creator. I'm the one that comes up with the ideas. I can do a lot of the implementation, but when it comes down to being here, making my people do the job I want to get the result I want to, somebody else can do it so much better than I can.
Yeah.
It's not my gift.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do better about that. So.
Yep. So you're let's go back even further. You're not, and nobody's originally from that area.
No, I was born and raised in southern Ontario. Little town called Aylmer, Ontario.
Yep.
Heard of Pathway Publishing? I grew up just a quarter-mile south of Pathway.
Wagler.
Printed all the Family Life, Young Companion, Blackboard Bullet, all the books. My mom was. So I grew up. My uncle there he told me he built his first shed in 1975, and he still got it. But my sister would have worked there for 12 years, and I used to go back there after school was over and work for another 3 hours after school building rafters. I would have probably been 12, 13 at the time. This is interesting. I know I'm pretty young yet, but at that time, when I started, they paid me $2 an hour to build to build their rafters for them.
Too bad you can't find that guy now, huh?
So yeah, a lot of things has happened since then.
So when did you leave Canada?
I left in 2003.
Okay.
January of 2003, and been out on my own ever since.
Went to Tennessee from there, or did you stop somewhere along the way?
I spent 4 years in Illinois.
Okay. Oh, that's right. You said you had was it an uncle that was over there?
Yeah, I had an uncle over there in Illinois, and he was buying and selling sheds, delivering sheds. So from 2003 to fall of 2006, so almost 4 years I would have spent there.
Mm-hmm.
He built gazebos, sold sheds, built pole barns. We did Conklin roofing, spray foam from some of those years as well. So been involved in some of that as well.
Introducing the Challenger, the revolutionary new shed mover that's taking the industry by storm. The Challenger features a touchless design, ensuring it only makes contact at the end of the skids and the bottom of the floor joists, so rest easy knowing your gable walls will remain pristine. Worried about reliability? Fear not, the Challenger is always up for the challenge and will not overturn or scuff your shed. Harness the power of innovative wireless technology. Remotely control the Challenger via your smartphone. No cell service needed. And guess what? The cell phone remote comes standard with every Challenger at no extra cost. Featuring floating forks, a 4-directional tilting mast, and sliding weight transfer, move the shed weight precisely where you need it to get ultimate traction. With self-loading capability, straight onto your truck, say goodbye to the need for a hydraulic carriage. The Challenger makes your job easy and more efficient. Choose from 2 machine sizes, 10,000 pounds and 15,000 pounds. Perfect for any job. Visit www.shedchallenger.com or email us at info@shedchallenger.com or call or text 828-220-3508 for more information. Experience the future of shed moving with the Challenger.
I had my Conklin spray foam years too, back in the early 90s. Karen's, my wife's uncle, I know for years he had plaques on the wall. This is before all the big shots showed up, but he was the Eli Yoder.
Eli Yoder. I didn't know if she was kin to like the Yutzi boys.
No, I'm actually kin to the Yutzi boys, but we're not going to tell anybody that. But that was before they ever got into it. So, but yeah, him and Marvin Yoder and oh my, I hope he doesn't listen, because he'd be like, come on, man, you don't remember my name? Oh, I can't think of the other one, but they ran Yoders. There was a couple of Yoders that ran big time out of Montezuma area, Macon, Columbus, down into Valdosta, down into, they got up into Atlanta a little bit, and man, there for 4 or 5 years, they were big. I mean, it was crazy.
Really?
So, yeah. Yeah. Eli's still, him and his son still run a full-time foam Conklin coating business. Marvin's actually building sheds for Premier in Montezuma now, and he wants to get back to farming a little more again. And it was a big deal. I don't know. I think they started about 88, 87, 88 is when they first started getting into it. And yeah, Eli's a little more relaxed now that he's older than he used to be. But man, he used to sell like crazy. It was crazy. Yeah.
I see. No, and so I never was personally signed up with Conklin. It was just through my uncle and what we had done there. And but yeah, it's a lot of people have made really good money at it. It's a multi-level marketing thing that I don't care much for, but
yeah, well, Eli never did that part of it either. None of those guys really did. Ronald Yoder, he's still big in Montezuma area with a coating business. But oh man, there's many times I had to go rent an air compressor and go blow gravel off a roof.
I see.
And then we got doing metal roofs. Anyway, that's a whole different story. That's that industry. I have a bunch of friends that are in it, but the majority of the ones that I know stay pretty focused on just the roofing side of it.
Mm-hmm.
They're not into all the rest of it so much, but
yeah.
Well, that's wild that you actually did that.
Yeah, we were certified with Conklin. We had done some pretty major jobs.
Yeah.
There again, if you get into that, you're putting yourself out there, because guess what? For the next 10 years, 12 years, whatever, if there is a leak, guess who they call?
Oh yeah. They're going to call you.
If it's 3 hours away, 4 hours away, 6 hours away, whatever,
you'll fix it.
You're going to go fix it, or, so Yeah, it was a learning curve. Um,
Yeah.
did I enjoy it? Yeah. Would I do it again? Probably not.
Probably not.
Mm,
Like me hooking up double wides. Nope, no more.
yeah,
Let the young
yeah,
guys do it.
yeah.
So then,
Well, it's
then ended up in Tennessee from there.
yep. Ended up moved down here in fall of 2006.
I got you. Cool.
Been
Yep.
been down here ever since.
Very good.
So,
Got
well,
married
Sam, you
there, or were you married in
no, I
Illinois?
married in Illinois,
Okay.
and my wife's family's there's two of them still in Illinois, and her father, and then the rest are in Missouri, Kentucky, kind of scattered around.
I
Uh,
got you.
Sam, you're gonna have to get down here, see me sometime.
Oh yeah, I was
The
planning
boys
on
have
it.
the boys have been begging to go golfing again, so
Oh no,
uh,
they want to go hunting and fishing too, huh? Hunt it
they're
out of
not
the
much.
woods and fish it out of the ponds.
Well, they probably won't do that. It'd be probably be me more than them.
I hear you. No, we're gonna make that happen again. I just, man, my back's got me so like I was supposed to go to Oklahoma to the barbecue out there. Wasn't
Mhm.
able to go to that. I've had two other trips planned that I've had to cancel. It's a struggle to ride for 2 hours to get up to North Carolina to get our sheds done. But
Really?
um, yeah, the plan is to go back up there tomorrow. I'm gonna try to get about six of them out tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's just I'm doing better as long as I don't drive every day. It's
Mhm.
much better. So, and I'm on some better stuff that I think starting to help too. So
Good.
we're getting there slowly but
Good.
surely.
Glad to hear that.
What would you put out to everybody out there? Like where do you see the market going? Of course, you're in Tennessee. You're like me. You're in an area where it's just seems like it's never going to slow down. We're in huge growth areas. But what
Mhm.
do you say out there to the people in the shed industry?
I guess in the last year, I've been watching through COVID. There seem to be a lot of guys getting into the shed industry, and I think we're going to see some consolidation amongst some of those. Um, and I think we're going to see it slowed down. So that's just personal feeling, kind of my gut feeling of watching. In my area, I think we're going to be solid, but I think there's going to be some areas, especially in the Northeast, um, maybe more in in the Florida area and stuff, that I think we're going to see some pretty major slowdowns. Um, and that's just I'm just talking off my hip here. I don't have the numbers, but that's just my gut
Yeah.
feeling from watching where I'm at. Um, my recommendation is, don't skimp on what you're how you're building your sheds, because quality will long outlast quantity.
Yep. I agree. Anything out like you're so diversified, it's a little hard to nail this down. Plus, you run on there's something we didn't talk about, but I'm thinking of how diversified you are and what you're doing, but you've got in-house trucking that you use also. Are you I guess you're
Yeah,
still doing that.
yeah, we do all our own trucking.
Yeah.
Um,
So you yeah, well, I mean that basically, the shed hauling picture part of it, which is mostly where a lot of my listeners come from,
mhm.
is you feel pretty comfortable with the way you're set up doing that. Trucking
I
seems to
do,
be pretty steady right now.
I do. I'm my drivers are busy. I've been happy with, I've not had a struggle finding someone. Most times, um, one of my drivers has been with me for almost 10 years at this point. Um, and then the rest of mine, I pretty much can promote from within the company. That we'll bring them in, run, they'll haul lumber, they'll haul whatever else we need, and then if we have an opening, there's usually one of them that'll jump at getting paid. We pay based off of performance,
Hmm.
based on deliveries, and so the opportunity to make some extra money doing a good job. I've been very, very happy with that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, it's for us, the Holland side just makes sense.
Yeah. Hey, you have dealers. Like you got guys out there, like not all your lots are corporate lots. So you have the dealer side of it. Well,
We do.
you're grinning like a Cheshire cat over there. You still have dealers, or did you get rid of all of them?
Uh, no, we have dealers. I have.
I'm just thinking out loud here that I'm comparing you a little bit to Westwood. Mike and Arlen, that they do all their own hauling in house, but then they have all their own sales lots too. They don't have dealers.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
so
you've still got that. I don't know what I'm
apparently
looking
we have a mix,
balance.
run both. Some days I think our own dealers do better, and then some days my independents do better. So it just the dealer side of things can get very interesting, because as soon as they hit a month where they're not selling,
Yeah,
it's automatic. It's automatically everybody else's fault.
absolutely. Yep.
I mean, it's. Can I say it's like babysitting some days?
It is. Yep, I've heard that before.
It's an adult daycare.
Yep. I've said that about the haulers too. So I guess, there's days I need babysitting, I guess. So it fits all of us sometimes.
Yeah, and for us, the having our own haulers has been a really good thing. I would have a hard time seeing contracting my hauling out. It's simply, it keeps the communication so much cleaner, tighter.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with that.
Yep. And the other thing you've got going for you is you're actually a little bit of a grease nut anyway. Like you
Probably
still,
more than a little bit. But,
yeah. So you actually still enjoy. It's not like it's a burden to have to actually own trucks to have them worked on.
No, I love it.
Yeah. That makes a big difference.
We do all our own maintenance in house. We just get done rebuilding. We rebuild our own engines.
You totally rebuilt the one truck. Not just the engines and stuff.
Yeah,
you do it all.
We do.
Yeah.
You need to come see my 84, Sam.
Yeah, I know. I need to get it. I know. So last time I was there was a hood in the paint booth and a cab, I think. So yeah, I got to get up there.
I've got an 84 C10 that I'm rather happy with how it turned out. So
nice. That's awesome. Yeah. Just for the record, the road runs both ways,
I know, but I've got to keep the office work done so that everything else keeps going.
Oh no! I know your people good enough to know better than that.
I was really hoping that I could get out a little bit more this year than what I have some other years. Last year was really rough on me. We just seemed like we struggled all year to the right people in the right places, and adding the lumber side, growing the metal side as much as we have. It's been a growth thing. And this week I'm having my first EOS meeting. We're going to do a full scale implementation of the EOS system. So I'm hoping that'll make a big difference on operational side.
I got you. Cool. Very good. Anything else you want to throw in there before we close this out?
I don't think so.
Cool. Well, I thank you so much. It seems like, I do. I appreciate everybody that comes on here lately. It seems like it's hard to get people to come on because, my schedule is so whacked right now. Shannon's like, come on, you going to get some more guys in yet? Or, where we're at? And I'll just put it out there. Anybody that wants to come on, would love to have you on, would love to sit down and chat with you. It's not that hard to do. Anybody can do this. But yeah, I know it sounds repetitive, but I appreciate you coming on, talking with us. Anything so people want to get a hold of you, how do they get a hold of you?
Call the office here at Mountain View, ask to speak to me. They can transfer you to me.
Yep. Mountain View Company, I saw it says now when I looked you up on.
Technical name is Mountain View Construction LLC. I
Okay.
believe we're listed on Google as Mountain View Co.
Yep, right there. Yeah, Mountain View Co. is what it shows on there, right off the side of the big road in Belvedere. Big town of Belvedere, where we had the big old shed bash. Good place.
The 2019 shed bash.
Yep. So anyway, thank you guys for joining us today. I always appreciate having you along for the ride. Uh-oh, what are you looking for back there? Oh,
March
you're looking
the 2nd,
for your plaque.
2019. March the 2nd, 2019.
Yeah, you got a plaque back there somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah. So, yep. Thank all you guys for being on today. Make sure you always catch up on the newsletter. You can catch us on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, all the places. We even have a call-in number where you can just call in and listen to it by the phone. Thank you guys once again for being on today. This is Sam Ambassador. We'll catch you next time.
Hey, this is Mo Lunsford in sunny Union Grove, North Carolina, and we want to say thank you to all the guests and listeners.